Hey tubers, me again. Hey, so I'm looking around on YouTube last night for something totally unrelated, and you know how YouTube just takes and sends you stuff, pertaining to like your interest and whatever. So, anyways, a lot of videos out there on the how-tos of putting in a rope for a recoil starter on whatever chainsaw, mower, blower. I'm not really going to get into that part of it. So let's just say that you're going to go out there and you're going to attempt to replace that rope. And you start taking stuff apart, and the next thing you know is like you've got a spring that's totally unwound. And you're like, oh crap. That's usually when you go and you call the guy and say like, hey, I need my starter rebuilt, and the spring's out of it. It's like, well, you know what? It's not really that big of a deal. It's a little bit unnerving. It's a little bit scary and probably a little bit dangerous. So like, I wouldn't even attempt this without wearing safety glasses. And it's up to you. It's your own comfort level to see if this is something that you want to tackle. So, but basically, like I said, there's a lot of guys out there that have videos on how to, but usually it's this one part. When it gets to be this stage, you're like, oh crap, what do I do? You want to make it end up being like this, because once you get back to this stage, then putting it down inside and everything and running the rope. Like I said, there's tons of videos out there that guys will show you how to do it. So, you know me, I'm anal, and I never give up. So I remember the first time I did this, like I said, there were some mistakes made and whatever. That's where you gain your experience from. So anyways, no real time, no editing. We're going to take and wind this bad chicken up, and then we're going to take and put it inside of this recoil. And this one here, I just wanted to show you a couple of things, but once we get it all back in here, that's where the spring's going to go. So it looks like that one right there. We want ours to look just like that. Get it? Got it? Good. Okay, here we go. We're going to wind up that spring. I'll show you how to retain it so we can stick it in there. Clear all your junk off. I do it on a table just because I have a nice work table, and you're gonna need a pair of these. You're gonna need these bad chickens to hold that spring once you get it all wound up. Okay, and then keep in mind, because of that we got to get that spring. Once it's all wound up, it's got to fit right inside this space. So you want to make sure, if anything, that you go smaller than this circumference there, I guess is what you'd say. You want to go smaller than that is better than having it too short. Otherwise, you're going to have to take and stick it back on these little nails. I'll take and zoom in for a second. These little nails that are holding the spring, you're going to have to start all over again. And that's not going to be any fun at all. So you can see how we're right here. I got that little spring in between those two nails. That's going to keep it from, that's going to hold the center while I'm winding up the outsides. So I'm going to zoom out. Oh wow. Gonna zoom out again, and then let's see if we can't wind this up. Real time, no editing. Once you got it all set up. Okay, here we go. Got to keep your hand on the top of this thing pretty much the whole time. And the more tension you get on it, that little voice in your head is going to tell you, like, this is a little bit scary. So, I'm just getting it started. Pulling it in, pulling it in. Hopefully you can see all this, because I can't look at it. I just use that same old crappy old cell phone camera I'm pushing it around, and then you have to reach your arm over, and then grab your work again. But you can see how it's going so far. So good. Not too bad. And now, when I got it like this, see, it's way too big to fit in there. So we got to get it a lot smaller. So pull it out, push it around, keeping your hand on it, pull it out, push it around. Just keep going like this. I've still got my handy dandy lock and pliers right over there. So yeah, you definitely want to go a little bit smaller than the hole that this has got to fit into. You can see what it looks like now. Trying to keep it from jumping out right there. But we've got to get it a lot smaller. See, just by pulling that in. If this thing does pop off, I'm still gonna post it. That's why, because, like, you know what? That's real life. That's what really happens sometimes. Hopefully there's no blood. Getting close to it. It actually gets easier to take and hold it down the smaller it gets. Crazy neighbor. Okay, we're almost there. That's pretty tight. You need to take and hold that. See how it is? It needs to go just a squidge more on the outside. So pull that out. Give it one more wind. Holding it, holding it, holding it. Whoa, did you see that? I almost jumped out. Got my handy dandy pliers. Get in there. Push that down. Need to make that a little bit bigger. Yeah, maybe a little bit tighter. Feel like I'm losing some of my spring here. Still fighting it. It's got to be small. It's got to be small. That's what I'm looking for right there. Nothing quite like the pressure of doing this, no editing. There we go. Okay, it's still gonna have like a little bit of pressure. Double check it before I let it go. It's got a little bit of pressure on the inside of there. Boom. You can see it's kind of messed up a little bit, but we're gonna fix that once we get it inside the housing. So see how much smaller it is right there? Now we need to get that bad chicken to go in there. I don't know why, but there's a hole right there, a slot right there, and then that deep one is the one that we want to go into. So put that in there like that. Give it a twist. Now you're in the same position as you were before. Is like you got to take and hold that spring down there until it releases that energy and it goes out to the sides. Remember, we want to take and purpose of this video is to get it to look like this. So we got it in there. And let's see. I'm just going to hold down on it. I'm going to release that pressure. I'm still kind of holding it. And you can hear it. You can hear that sucker unwind in there. Boom. Okay, we're getting close. Here's the one that we just loaded up. Here's the one that now we want this one to look like that. telling you, like, you've got all the hard work is done. Don't let it get away from you right now. So just use a screwdriver. It's looking a little mangled. Holding that spring down. Hold it. Let me get a little pair of pliers. Got these little pliers right here. And I'm just going to go and straighten this out. What I'm looking for is, like, I want that piece to set right next to where it goes and gets reinstalled. It's off by a squidge. If that's sitting right next to that shaft right there, when I go and I put it on and wind it up, it's going to grab it. Piece of cake. So as a matter of fact, here is that housing. You can see that shaft. We want that to go right on there. And then when we start winding it up, we want that piece to catch. So let me get like this, just a hair. It's got to have enough room to open up to grab it. So that little piece right there, that's got to grab into there. So here we go. I can kind of see where it wants to go. Right here. Whoop. Right there. See that where it starts? I'm going to put this in here and just start turning it around. And you'll actually hear it pop. If you don't, you'll keep hearing this series of clicks because the spring's not catching. It's not quite in there. Hear it clicking? That's not perfect. There's that. It's actually, I think I'm too close to it. I'll put this out just a hair. Hang on to that spring, guys. All right. Take two. So we get that bad chicken in there. I think that's got it. Yep, it just went down. I don't know if you heard that click. So, all right, we're in there. Now there's a special shoulder bolt that's got to go in here. Special shoulder bolt that's got to go in here to hold this thing, as well as this spring. This spring provides the resistance to make those pawls come out. So that goes in there like that. Make sure that the springs right here, maybe you can see them, that little piece right here. You'll get it to focus. Those springs are on the outside of those pawls because they're spring loaded. Go like that. Put this cover back on. Making sure it's got a little movement. That works like that. Put that 10mm bolt back in. And now you're back to where you can watch somebody else's video on how to take and put that rope in. And basically, a little too tight. Shoulder bolt should hold it. That's it, guys. Just be careful when you're doing this stuff. That spring's got a lot of energy in it. Catch you on the next video.